any activity or department involved in creating and delivering your products or services to the customer comes under operations. If you got that, type out done in the chat box. I'll repeat that one last time for those of you who are asking me to repeat. Any activity or department involved in creating and delivering your products or services to the customer comes under operations. Now, what do I mean by this? What do I mean by this? Consider this. Different businesses undertake different activities and different departments within their business which are involved in creating and delivering the product or service. Based on your business, whichever activity is involved in creating or delivering the product or the service to the customer comes under operations. Now, the activities can be different for different businesses, but the goal of operations overall is the same for all businesses. The goal for operations overall is to deliver value for money to the customer and make sure the customer is happy. That's the overall goal for operations in any business, in any industry. Now, let me give you some examples for you to understand what do I mean by the activities are different in different businesses under operations. Let me give you a basic example. Let's say you're a manufacturing business. As a manufacturing business, under operations, you have multiple departments. You may have purchase department, which is responsible for procurement of the raw material. You'll have a production department, which is responsible for turning the raw material into a finished good. You may have a quality check department, which is responsible for checking the quality of the finished good. Then you may have a packaging department, which is responsible for packaging the finished goods. Then you may have a maintenance department, which is responsible for maintenance of your machinery and your tools. You may have an admin department, which is responsible for taking care of your overall infrastructure. You may have an IT department, which is responsible for the information technology of your business. You may have a logistics department that may be responsible for delivering the goods to the customer. You may have a customer service or a customer support department, which may be responsible for after delivery customer service or customer support. Now, if you think about it, all these departments, purchase, production, quality check, packaging, maintenance, admin, IT, logistics, customer service or customer support, all these departments are involved in creating and delivering the product to the customer. All these departments come under operations and their collective goal is to deliver value and happiness to the customer. Now, this is an example for a manufacturing business. But let's just say you're a services business. Let's just say you are a dentist. Now, as a dentist, under operations for you, you may have an admin department which is responsible for appointment booking. Okay, you may have a maintenance department or a housekeeping department which is responsible for the cleanliness of your clinic. Then whatever you perform as a dentist, the diagnosis and consultation is your practice, which is also under operations. Then you may have a customer support department for after patient leaves you, you give a call to them and check on their well-being. So you may not have as many departments as a manufacturing business may have, but whatever activities are involved in your business in creating and delivering the service to the customer comes under operations. The goal is the same, value and happiness. So ladies and gentlemen, how many of you realize, no matter what business you do, you have to deliver value for money to your customer. You have to make sure your customer is happy. If you agree, type out agree in the chat box. Now my request is, don't start personal requests of tell me about real estate, tell me about placement service. If you have a question answer session. But if you understand the concept, whatever you do in creating and delivering the product or service comes under operations. That's what the concept is. If you understand that much, that's more than enough. Now, before I go to the fourth foundational activity to build a stable and successful business, what I need all of you to understand is this: marketing, sales, operations. These are three core activities of any business to build a stable business. Think about it. If these three activities are not consistent, then you cannot build a stable business. If marketing is not consistent, then leads are not consistent. If leads are not consistent, then sales is not consistent. If sales is not consistent, revenue is not consistent. If revenue is not consistent, operations is not fully utilized. How many of you realize these are three core activities of any business, and all three need to be consistent if you need to build a stable business? If you agree, type out agree in the chat box. And I'll tell you the unfortunate reality. The unfortunate reality is many business owners, because they are doing all these three activities, they are not able to do it consistently. And because all these three are dependent on the business owner, one person cannot do it consistently, then the business is not stable. Then the business is unstable. Some months you make good money, some months you make no money. Then again good money, no money. It's like some months is Diwali, the other months is Diwala. How many of you realize that's a dangerous trap, because then it conditions your mind to only focus on month-to-month survival, then you only think about how can I make enough money to pay salary on time, rent on time, credit card bill on time, supplier on time, EMI on time. And you start playing this game of survival and you start lying to yourself that you're building a business. You're actually not building a business. You're in the trap of survival and you're doing it only because you want to retain the identity that you are a business owner. If you agree that these three are critical activities and they need to be done consistently, only then the business can be stable. Type out agree in the chat box. And I'll tell you, when I say this now, please don't take offense to what I just said. Because some people get defensive. They get defensive and saying, but Rajiv, I don't have the money to hire, so everything I only have to do. I have a question to you. If I give you a solution today on how do you set up a stable business, even if you don't have the money to hire, will you have an open mind? Will you have an open mind? So my request to you is this. Just because you don't have the money to hire a team, do not negate the basic fundamental truth of business. The basic fundamental truth of business is for you to build a stable business, marketing, sales, and operations need to happen consistently. So I just want you to hold that thought. I will address your challenges and problems through the course of today's learning. Is that okay, everybody? Awesome. Some of you are like, you're a mind reader, Rajiv. Baba, I'm not any mind reader. I don't have any mystical, magical powers. It's just that I've worked with 20,000 entrepreneurs and everybody's story is very, very similar. Okay, so I'm no mind reader. Okay. Next, let's go to the fourth foundational activity to build a stable and successful business. Beyond marketing for lead generation, beyond sales for revenue generation, and beyond operations to deliver value and happiness to customers, the fourth foundational activity to build a stable and successful business is R&D. Everybody write R&D. Stands for research and development. And next to that, write new products and new services in your notebook. Now, when I say R&D, research and development, I know some people start imagining a laboratory with test tubes and fumes flowing out of the test tubes, and they imagine themselves in a lab coat doing some research under the microscope. And they think, Rajiv, as a small business owner, how can I do R&D? Well, I want you to know one thing. R&D is not that complicated. R&D is very, very simple as a small business owner. What R&D means as a small business owner is you need to do research and development of new products and new services. You need to create some kind of new products and some kind of new services on a yearly basis. I'm not expecting you to do R&D every day. Once in 6 months, once a year, that's great. If you're a fashion designer, every season a new collection, that's great. But if you're in any other business, once in 6 months or once a year, that should be your focus of creating new products and new services. Now, why should you create new products or new services? 2 reasons why you should create a new product or new service. Reason number 1, you need to create a new product or new service because it helps you attracting new segment of customers. How many of you have experienced this in the past? You launched a new product or you launched a new service and you attracted new customers. People who've not bought anything from you, if they found value in the new product, they become your customers, right? So, one is you do that to attract new customers. Second, you do it to make more money from your existing happy customers. See, think about it. When you launch a new product or you launch a new service and you already have existing happy customers who know you, who trust you, who like you, when you launch a new product or new service which is of value to them, they prefer to buy it from you. So you're increasing your average billing value per customer. So the 2 reasons why every business needs to do R&D and create new products and new services is to attract new customers and to make more money from existing happy customers. If you got that, type out got it in the chat box. Awesome. Wonderful. Which brings me to the 5th foundational activity to build a stable and successful business. Okay. The 5th foundational activity to build a stable and successful business is accounts. Now, next to accounts, everybody write these 3 words. Accuracy, compliance, reporting. These are the 3 responsibilities of accounts. These are the 3 goals of accounts. Accuracy, compliance, and reporting. Once you're done writing these 3 words, type out done. Then I'll elaborate on these 3 points. Awesome. So consider this. The most basic responsibility of accounts is to capture the data of your business transactions in an accurate manner, okay? Is to capture the data of business transactions in an accurate manner in your books of accounts so that the data is in place for you to review and later to file it in your returns. How many of you agree accuracy is the most basic responsibility? If you agree it's the most basic, type out basic in the chat box. It's the most basic responsibility of accounts, right? The second responsibility of accounts is compliance. What do we mean by compliance? Compliance means following the rules and regulations. What rules and regulations do we need to follow as a business? We need to pay our taxes on time. We need to do the required registrations for our business. We need to procure required licenses for our business. So paying your taxes on time, your GST, your income tax returns, your professional tax, your TDS, your employee PF, all of these are a part of your compliance process. So that's the second responsibility of accounts, to make sure all these statutory norms are fulfilled, all these rules and regulations are followed. So that's compliance. Which brings me to the third responsibility of accounts, which is the most important responsibility of accounts, and most often it's the most ignored responsibility of accounts. The third responsibility of accounts is reporting. Now, what do I mean by reporting? Let me ask you a question. If in your business, your accountant or your accounts team does not submit reports to you with the ongoing financial data and the ongoing financial situation of your business, how many of you realize that then you are making decisions in your business without data, and making decisions in your business without data is a disaster? If you agree, type out agree. See, I'll tell you the beauty. Most entrepreneurs don't have a reporting system of ongoing financial data. They assume they are making money. And at the end of the year, when they sit with their auditor, the auditor says, the book shows this much profit. And they say, but this money is not in my account. No, how is it showing profit? Ladies and gentlemen, that's because you don't have an ongoing reporting system. You are not having a proper cash flow report statement. You're not having a profit and loss report on a monthly basis for you to track whether you're in the positive or in the negative. And it happens very often with a lot of services businesses where you sell a project at a particular price point, but you don't have project profit and loss reports. You don't have project budgets that is being tracked. You assume you will service the project at X amount of money, but your investment in raw material, your investment in manpower increases, but your pricing is fixed with the client. And I've seen a lot of services business complain about spending more money from their pocket to service the project rather than make profits from that project. It's a very common thing that I see with IT businesses. It's a very common thing sometimes that I see with a lot of contracting, architecture, interior design businesses, where your input raw material cost is not controlled. I've seen that happen with fashion designers as well. They set a certain price point thinking a particular input cost, and then suddenly the cost goes up, and then they're in an awkward situation with the client trying to negotiate, saying, hey, no, your lehenga cost has gone up. And that person's like, you're fleecing me. So ladies and gentlemen, you need to have a reporting system in your business. If you got that, type out got it. Construction business, like I said, very common thing to happen. So accuracy, compliance, reporting, three important responsibilities of accounts. Which brings me to the sixth foundational activity of building a stable and successful business. The sixth foundational activity of building a stable and successful business is human resources. And next to human resources, please make a note of these three words: recruitment, people development, employee happiness. Write these three words down: recruitment, people development, and employee happiness. Recruitment, people development, and employee happiness. Awesome. Let me break these three aspects down for all of you once you're done writing. Thank you to those of you typing out done in the chat box. So listen carefully. How many of you agree to the statement when I say that the recruitment activity of your business can make your business or break your business? If you agree to that statement, I would agree. The quality of recruitment can make your business or break your business. Think about it. You may have an amazing product. You may have an amazing service. But if you don't have the right team, all your plans fall apart. All your plans fall apart. That's why I often say this to entrepreneurs. The quality of your recruitment can make your business or break your business. And that's the first responsibility of human resources activities: to hire the right person for the right job at the right time, at the right price. That's a very, very critical responsibility of human resources. The second responsibility of human resources, and I'll elaborate a little bit more about recruitment little bit later in my session. Right now I'm doing an overview, then we'll go deeper. Okay. The second responsibility of human resources is people development. What do I mean by people development? Every business needs a training and mentoring system for their teams and for the business owner. Even if you're a solo entrepreneur, a one-man, one-woman business working from home, you need a training and mentoring system for yourself. And if you have a team, you need a training and mentoring system for your team and for yourself. Because think about it. Only when you have a proper training and mentoring system within your business, do you help your team members grow in their skills and knowledge. Only when the skills and knowledge of your team members grow, do they become more capable. And only when their capability grows, their performance grows. If you agree, type out agree. You can't expect performance to grow without capability growing. And many business owners make the mistake of not having a training and mentoring system within their organization. And the only thing they do is impromptu motivation. You know impromptu motivation? Where suddenly you walk up to your team members and say, I believe in you. You can do it. Law of attraction. And the guy's like, what attraction? Guys, motivation is temporary. It does not last. Motivation is like acidity. Once you fart it out, it's gone. Don't rely on motivation. Build skills and knowledge within your teams. That's what is a permanent solution to accelerate performance. If that makes sense, that one makes sense. Don't rely on temporary motivation. Motivation though you get every morning at 4:30 a.m. Once that oldest uncle in your family wakes up and sends that good morning message with a candle or a diya and says, may the light shine your day. And you're like, bilkul. Right? So don't rely on motivation. Okay? Rely on skill and knowledge development. People development is a more solid way of accelerating the performance of your team. Which brings me to the third element of human resources. The third element of human resources is employee happiness. There are three things you need to take care of to make sure your team members are happy. Number one, you need to give them adequate financial growth. Number two, you need to make sure that they have a career growth path with you. Number three, you need to make sure that the quality of life they are living is phenomenal. Now, how do you take care of these three things? How do you take care of financial growth? By having a proper appraisal system. How do you take care of career growth? By having a proper promotion plan. How do you take care of quality of life? By having a proper holiday calendar, work timings, and creating an environment where they are respected. Not an environment which is like a TV serial. You don't want people to walk into Kyunki Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi. It's a torture, right? You don't want people to ask, Rasode mein kaun gaya tha? That's painful. You want to create an environment that's chill, where people are respected, where people are taken care of, where designation does not determine authority. That's when people stick. Financial growth, career growth, quality of life. If you can't take care of these three things, you have no business about being in business. Simple as that. Is that clear, everybody? You've got to make sure your team members are happy. And if you don't take care of their happiness, I promise you, they will make sure you are unhappy. Awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, out of the 7, I've looked at 6 foundational activities so far to build a stable and successful business. Let's review them again, and then I'll go to the 7th one. Marketing's job is to generate leads. Sales job is to generate revenue. Operations job is to deliver value and happiness. R&D job is to create new products and new services. Accounts job is accuracy, compliance, and reporting. And HR job is recruitment, people development, and employee happiness. How many of you realize to build a stable business, all these 6 need to happen consistently and simultaneously? If you agree, I would agree in the chat box. Even if one of them is not functional, it has a ripple effect on the others, and it pulls you back in firefighting. Now, when I say this, I am not expecting you to hire 6 managers for 6 departments tomorrow. I'm not expecting you to hire 6 managers for 6 departments tomorrow. You don't need a full-time HR manager till your team size crosses 30 people. Agree? You don't need a full-time HR manager, but you need to make sure there's a system for recruitment. There's a system for people development. There's a system for employee happiness. So you don't need full-time people for certain activities till you reach a significant size. You may not need a full-time accounts person till you have 6 hours of work for the accountant. But do you need to have a system for accounts? Do you need a freelancer for accounts? Yes. So don't fall into the trap of thinking, oh Rajiv, I agree 6 activities are critical, but I don't have money. Baba, stop singing the song of I don't have money. Before you get the money to hire, you need to build a system in these 6 departments. If you agreed, about agree in the chat box. You need all 6 to run simultaneously to build a stable and successful business. Which brings me to the 7th foundational activity to build a stable and successful business. The 7th foundational activity to build a stable and successful business is management. Everybody write point number 7 in your notebook as management. And next to management, write my job, not mine, your job, okay, as a business owner. So next to management, write my job. Okay, next to management, write my job. Now this is your role, ladies and gentlemen, in the business. Your role as a business owner is to demonstrate and fulfill the responsibilities of management. Now, when I say your role is management, some of you must be thinking, yeah, Rajiv, I understand my job is management, and that's why I do management. I do little bit of marketing and little bit of sales. Then I'm involved in operations as well. I'm involved in accounts as well. I'm involved in hiring as well. I'm involved everywhere. My Purushottam Purush and Purushottam Nari, my Sarvaguna Sampan, super talented, hardworking people, please open your eyes and realize one thing. You being involved in marketing or sales or operations or accounts and HR is not management. You are involving yourself in those areas because your team is not capable of doing those activities in the way you do it. So that's not called management, that's called crisis management. If that hit hard, type out hit hard in the chat box. You as a business owner are sitting and doing everything not because you are passionate about it or you love giving a personal touch to the client. How many will you touch? You'll become a serial molester touching every client. Your job is management. You are sitting and playing dandiya with every client over there. You will lose your mind if you handle every client. Ladies and gentlemen, you being involved in every single activity is crisis management. True management means something else. So would you like to learn the meaning of true management? Awesome. So under management, you as a business owner have 3 responsibilities. Okay? Under management, you as a business owner have 3 responsibilities. Please make a note of these 3 responsibilities under management. Your first responsibility under management is clarity. Your job is to provide clarity. Now I know your thought is clarity of what? So next to clarity in your notebook, write this down. Put a hyphen there. I'm dictating 3 points. Write this down next to clarity. Clarity of holistic goals. Write this down. Clarity of holistic goals, comma, clarity of a profitable business model. So clarity of holistic goals, clarity of a profitable business model, and clarity of systems in every department. And clarity of systems in every department. I'll repeat that one more time. Next to clarity, please write this down. Clarity of holistic goals, clarity of a profitable business model, and clarity of systems in every department. If you're done writing those 3 points next to clarity, type out done in the chat box. Awesome. I'll give a simple explanation to understand these 3 points that I made you write just now. Please understand this. The first area that you need to provide clarity is clarity of holistic goals. What do I mean by holistic goals? See, many people firstly don't set goals. They just go with the flow. Wherever they land up at the end of the year, they look back and say that was the goal. So it's like playing dartboard. You throw the dart, it doesn't hit the dartboard, it hits the wall. Wherever it lands, you go paint it red and call it bullseye. That's not a healthy way of building a business. Okay? So the key is to create holistic goals. You need to create clarity of holistic goals. Now, what do I mean by holistic goals? Some people don't set goals, and some people only set a financial goal. They set a sales target at the beginning of the year. They attend some motivational training, and in motivation training, the person tells you, believe in yourself. And you're like, yeah, I believe in myself. And then you set a sales target. Only setting a financial target is not a holistic goal. Only setting a financial target is a wish. You wish you make that much money. It's a wish. When I talk about creating holistic goals, you need to create a financial target for the business. You need to create a functional goal for every department. You need to define what's the goal of marketing. How many leads does marketing have to generate? What's the goal of sales? How much revenue does sales have to generate? What's the goal of operations? What's the quality? What's the time? What's the cost? What's the quantity metrics that operations has to produce? What is the goal of R&D? Which new products does R&D have to create? What's the benchmark of accuracy, compliance, and reporting that accounts has to achieve? What's the recruitment goals? What's the people development goals? What's the employee happiness goal? How many of you realize only setting a financial goal is incomplete? You need to set a clear financial goal, and then you need to break it down into clear functional goals in every department, because only when the departments achieve their goals will your financial goal become a reality. If you agree, type out agree in the chat box. So when I talk about holistic goals, I'm saying set a financial goal, then set a functional goal for every department, and then set an individual goal for every team member in every department. Because if you don't set a goal for every individual in every department, then only 20% of your staff will do the work. The remaining 80% will take salary for free. So when I talk about holistic goals, it's financial goals, functional goals, individual goals. If you got that, type out got it in the chat box. Your job is to create clarity at these three levels. Don't expect your team member to come up to you and say, boss, I'm going to do this. No. Sit down with every department, break down a departmental goal. Then for every individual, break down an individual goal. That's called clarity of holistic goals. So that's the first aspect of clarity, to create clarity of holistic goals. The second aspect of clarity is to create clarity of a profitable business model. Now let me explain what do I mean by creating clarity of a profitable business model. Consider this. Today we live in an era where no matter what business you are doing, competition is increasing, technology is disrupting businesses, and customers' options have increased. Now when competition is increasing, technology is disrupting businesses, and customers' options have increased, you can't make the same profit margins forever. Yes or no? The profit margins are constantly reducing for many businesses. Now if the profit margins are reducing, you can't cry and complain saying, oh, Flipkart and Amazon and Myntra are killing my business. Because they are not going to come and wipe your tears and say, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm very apologetic about it, all the best for your retail business. They are not going to sit and do that. Their job is to disrupt. So what do you need to do? Instead of crying and complaining, you need to learn how to design a profitable business model in your industry. You need to research what is a model that you could use to scale your business. You need to differentiate what you're offering from the current market alternatives. So this learning, this creating, this researching, this differentiating is something that you have to do to design a business model that is profitable, to create a business model that's financially viable. Your team won't do this for you. This is your job as a business owner. Agree? Nobody else will think, is our business model profitable? It's the entrepreneur who has to break their head, research, differentiate, learn new strategies, create a model that stands out and make sure that it's making money. So the second element of clarity is to provide clarity of a profitable business model, which you need to do. The third area where you need to create clarity, apart from creating clarity of holistic goals and apart from creating clarity of a profitable business model, the third area where you need to create clarity is clarity of systems in every department. You need to break down a step-by-step process to be followed in marketing to generate leads. You need to break down a step-by-step process to be followed in sales to close clients. You need to break down a step-by-step process to be followed in operations to create the product or service at a high quality within the budget and within the time that is required. You need to break down a step-by-step process to be followed in accounts, in HR. This is your job. If you don't break down a step-by-step process to be followed in every department to get the result from that department, then your team members will do what they think they have to do, and then your workplace becomes a madhouse. It becomes a chaos factory. So it's your job to provide clarity of systems in every single department, which is nothing but a step-by-step process of getting things done. So this is your responsibility, to provide clarity of holistic goals, clarity of a profitable business model, and clarity of functional systems. If this is clear, type out clear in the chat box. Awesome. So first responsibility as management is to provide clarity. The second responsibility you have as management of your business is to accelerate performance. Okay, Kashmira says clear but tough. It's tough when you lack the skills and knowledge. It's easy when you learn the skills and knowledge. So Kashmira, just have an open mind today and take this journey of learning. Once you learn the skills and knowledge, then everything is easy. Only what we don't have the skills for, we find it difficult. Fair to say that, everyone? Right? Awesome. So I just want you to have an open mind, because some of you don't need competition to kill you. Some of you are good at killing yourself with your self-talk. Oh, I can't do it. Oh, it's too complicated for me. Oh, I'm not made this way. Oh, I am all over the place. Oh, I can't. Hold on. If you want to, you can. If you don't want to, you can always have a reason. Right? So, yeah. And another one that you need to know is this. There's nothing called easy success in this world. People who want easy success don't deserve it in the first place. Is that fair to say, everyone? No fukad ka chandan ghes mere nandan in life. No fukad ka chandan ghes mere nandan. Okay? This program is designed for those who are hardworking people and would like to take their results to the next level. It's not for those who are not willing to work hard. Okay? So I just want to set the expectations straight with everybody. Awesome. So consider this, okay? Consider this. So next responsibility of the business owner is to accelerate performance. So we looked at 3 areas to provide clarity. Clarity of holistic goals, clarity of a profitable business model, and clarity of systems in every department. Now let's understand what's your second responsibility as a business owner under the job of management. The second responsibility is to accelerate performance. Now how can you accelerate the performance of your business? You can accelerate the performance of your business by following 6 tasks that I'm going to share with you in my next slide. So under accelerate performance, please write down business owner's role to accelerate performance in your notebook. Please write business owner's role to accelerate performance in your notebook. And please write. I know for some of you, since school or college you've not written, welcome back to writing. It's the best form of learning. Please make notes. Okay? So write this down. Business owner's role to accelerate performance. Lakshay, you can copy it from the slide. Business owner's role to accelerate performance. So are you ready to learn what are the 6 things that you need to do to accelerate the performance of your business? If you're ready, type out ready in the chat box. Awesome. So listen carefully. As a business owner, if you want to accelerate the performance of your business, it starts with hiring the right people. It starts with hiring the right people. Shravanti is sending a message saying, can you please say hi to me? Shravanti, I'm not Hrithik Roshan for me to say hi to you, ma. Okay? Wo the mani. Okay? Focus on the learning. Okay? So write this down. Hiring the right people. Okay? If you want to accelerate the performance of your business, it starts with you hiring the right people. Now, what do I mean by the right people? This right people seems like some vague, mystical, magical thing, right? So next to right people, write this down. Hiring people, write this down. Next to right people, I'm dictating it, it's not on the slide. Write this down. Hiring people with the required attitude, skill, and knowledge. Hiring people with the required attitude, skill, and knowledge. Hiring people with the required attitude, skill, and knowledge. Okay. Now, are you ready for some moment of truth, ladies and gentlemen? Can you handle the truth? This is like Sach Ka Samna. Okay, listen carefully. When I say, if you want to accelerate the performance of your business, you got to hire the right people, which is hiring people with the required attitude, skill, and knowledge. Consider this. Most entrepreneurs don't know how to evaluate the attitude of a person, the skills of a person, and the knowledge of the person during an interview. Now, because they don't know how to evaluate attitude, skill, and knowledge, they sit in the interview and they start with the question, tell me a little bit about yourself. Bhai, date pe ja rahe ho tum? Okay? And then after that, they ask the person, are you hardworking? That person says, yes, sir. Yes, madam. Are you committed? 100%. Yes, sir. Yes, madam. Are you open to learning? Yes, sir. Yes, madam. Will you stay in the company forever and not leave the company in 1 or 2 years? Yes, sir. Yes, madam. Now, when you ask such meaningless questions and they say yes to everything because they're desperate for the job, you feel victorious at the end of the meeting. and you feel you found the ideal candidate. But here's the truth. You've not found the ideal candidate. You just found a useless son-in-law who wants free food and free respect. Fukat ka khayega, manwar chayega. Ladies and gentlemen, hiring is a skill. It's a skill of evaluating people's skill, knowledge and attitude. And if you don't have the skill, then your interview either will be a Miss World beauty pageant interview or it will be an MTV Roadie stress interview. Neither of them are effective for a job interview. You need to evaluate attitude, skill and knowledge. That's when you can hire the right people. And I'll tell you what happens. Most people have this belief, Rajiv, hiring is an expense. If I hire, my expenses will go up. Listen to me carefully. Hiring is an investment that allows you to delegate what you are doing so you can focus on growth. That's what hiring technically is. It's an investment which will allow you to delegate what you are doing so you can focus on growth. But most people have this belief that hiring is an expense, and I'll tell you why. Listen to this statement carefully. Hiring is an expense for those business owners who hire incapable people because of their incapability in hiring. Let me repeat that. Let that sink in. Hiring is an expense for those business owners who hire incapable people because of their incapability in hiring. When you ask questions like, are you hardworking, are you committed, are you open to learning, will you stay in the company forever, and that person says yes, and you assume that person to have all the attitude, skill and knowledge required, when you hire them, you realize that they don't know shit. And then you are sitting and doing everything on their behalf, and you are paying them a salary. And in the process, you are losing faith in hiring. You are thinking hiring doesn't work. I'm sorry to say this. Hiring works. Your hiring did not work. Hiring is an expense for those business owners who hire incapable people because of their incapability in hiring. So if hiring has been a problem area for you, I want you to be open and make this a learning goal for yourself. Set this as a learning goal that this year I want to learn how to hire the right person. I want to learn how to source candidates. I want to learn how to select and screen the right candidate. Is this making sense, everybody? Make it a learning goal. Everything in business is a learnable skill. Most people accept their problems as a way of life. They don't challenge the challenge by saying, I don't know, let me learn. Vivek is asking from where to learn. Vivek, you're standing in the temple and asking the pujari who will give prasadam. Ingama? Here only. Wait. We are just starting. This is warm up. दरगाह में खड़ के मौलवी से पूछ रहे हो चादर चढ़ाने में मदद कौन करेगा? अमित, hold on, we'll talk about it. But I want you to understand what are the components of accelerating performance. You got to hire the right people with the required attitude, skill and knowledge. Only then the performance will go up. Agree? Is that fair? Like common sense connection? Kannan is saying speak only in English. Kannan, anything that I speak in any other language apart from English is irrelevant. It's a random joke for my own satisfaction. You can laugh if you choose to. Okay? So everything else which is meaningful is in English itself. Don't worry, Kannan. You are not missing anything. Okay? So hiring the right people. Second, delegating clear roles. Okay? Second thing that you need to do as a business owner, once you hire the right person, is you need to delegate clear roles. What do I mean by delegating clear roles? Please listen to this carefully. Anish is asking, is this a recording of an old session? Anish, it's 13th April, 10:20 a.m. You're not time traveling, neither am I. And even if it's a recording and it's making sense, watch the recording. Not like you're touching me and feeling me up. Focus on the learning. Okay? So delegate clear roles. That's the next part. Okay? Watch this. Many business owners make the mistake of playing musical chairs in their office. You know what is musical chairs? You remember in your childhood, you used to go to birthday party, they would put 10 chairs, 11 kids would run around it, they stop the music, then you sit on whichever chair is empty. That's what happens in offices nowadays. Today you follow up with customer. Today you take care of this delivery. Today you do accounts. Baba, don't play musical chairs. If you want to accelerate performance, don't make everyone do everything in the name of multitasking. In the name of multitasking, don't make everyone do everything. Give them roles based on their capability and personality. What do I mean by that? I'll give you an example. Say, for example, you hired an accountant. You hired an accountant. For the first 3 months, the accountant was extremely busy. Why? Because in your past, you've never done accounts. So that person was looking at your bank statement and taking every transaction, entering it in the right place. Okay, that person was making sure that every transaction has a supporting bill or voucher or challan. They're following up with your vendor. They're doing all of these things. Okay. Now, first 3 months they're busy. You feel very proud of your hiring decision, saying, I made the right decision. This accounts person is organizing accounts. After 3 months of organizing accounts, this person does not have that much work. So they have only 2 hours of work every day for accounts because there are not that many business transactions. The rest of the 6 hours, they're sitting and playing Candy Crush on their phone, or they're chit-chatting with colleagues or watching YouTube videos. Now, in the name of productivity, you come up with a brilliant idea. You walk up to the accountant and you say, hey, you have a lot of free time, right? Accounts person is a very sincere person. Saying, yes, sir, yes, madam. Out of 8 hours of work, I have only 2 hours of work. So you say, okay, I have an idea. Anyway, you have free time. No, take this. This is a directory of customers. Entire database is in this. Name of customer, phone number, everything. Do one thing, you do telemarketing. You make calls. You make calls to set up appointments for the sales team. Anyway, you are free, no? Now tell me something. Accountant, typically a shy, reserved, introverted person. You are giving him a telemarketing job, which is a job of an extrovert who's confident, who's willing to face rejections. Now, this accountant says, sir, madam, how can I make calls? I am not confident. Now, you want productivity. So what do? You give motivation. You say, why you are worried? You are such a nice human being. You're such a sincere person. I believe in you. I can see the spark in your eyes. That's not spark. That is tube light reflection in their eyes. Okay? They say, I will train you. I'll tell you exactly what to say on the phone. Don't worry. Make calls. When I am there, why are you worried? You are not there. That is the problem. You are just convincing this person. And this person then makes calls, but not to set up appointments, but to find new jobs for themselves. Why? Because you are expecting a fish to fly. When you expect a fish to fly, the fish will die. And no matter how much motivation you give the fish will die because that job role is not in alignment with their capability and personality. If you have a fish bowl at home and there's a fish peacefully swimming over there and you decide to motivate that fish, you put your hand in water, remove that fish out of water and say, dear fish, I can see it in your eyes. This restlessness that you have right now is to survive. You have wings. Those fins are wings. I see it, you don't. See it. Believe it. Start flapping those wings and you will fly. That fish is like, you idiot, I'm suffocating, put me back in water. Ladies and gentlemen, hand-folded request. Delegate clear roles based on your team members' capability and personality. Don't expect a fish to fly. The fish will die. If you got that, type out got it. Paul says you are funny. The stand-up comedy is free. I had an aspiration to become a stand-up comedian. Nobody is willing to give me a break, so I thought might as well float my own webinars. Okay. So watch this. Hiring the right people, delegating clear roles. Okay. These are the 2 things to start with to accelerate performance. Which brings me to the 3rd responsibility of a business owner to accelerate performance. Okay. Abhay is asking, so should we leave this person with 2 hours of work itself? Abhay, question answer in the end. Question answer in the end. Because let the pain, let the wounds get exposed today, Abhay. First, let the wounds get exposed. Let's not look for Dettol so immediately. First, let's realize these are wounds. Okay? Dard ko sehna seekho. I will give you a solution in the end. Okay, which brings me to the third role you have to play as a business owner to accelerate your business performance. The third role you have to play as a business owner to accelerate your business performance is to review the performance of your team members once you delegate the clear roles and give them feedback. Now, this is another moment of disaster. In the name of feedback, many business owners remove their frustration on people. They get angry, they get aggressive, they get abusive, and they do this with the claim that they are perfectionists. Ladies and gentlemen, nowadays your children will not listen to your abuses. Leave alone your team members listening to your abuses. Please understand this. The job of feedback is to help them change, is to help them develop. So the feedback firstly has to be given in a respectful tone. You don't own people. You've got to give feedback in a respectful tone. Secondly, the feedback has to be solution focused. Tell them what to do. And the feedback has to be specific. It has to be actionable. So feedback should be respectful, specific, solution focused. In the name of feedback, if you're telling your team members stuff like, I want you to think outside the box. They're thinking, which box? The match box or lunch box? Or, I want you to pull your socks up. They're like, oh shit, today I wore ankle socks, tomorrow I'll wear shoes. Baba, give people specific, solution-focused, action-oriented, respectful feedback. That is what will help in accelerating performance. If you got that type of thought. Think about it. As a business owner, when you want to accelerate performance,